on your Gucci. We're good?
Yeah, we rolling.
Music? The music's on?
You don't need them.
Music.
Cue the theme music. Here we go.
Welcome, ladies and gentlemen. You are tuned into BoomBappED. My name is Brandon White, aka Bushido Garvey, on the mic. We also have, who else do we have in the building? We have Brother Atlas in the building.
What's going on, y'all?
Gorilla Music in the house.
True.
We have Brother Rob Lowe on the tech. Peace to Rob Lowe. And we also are graced with the amazing guests, newly elected school board members, Natalie Sheppard and Miss Mama Melanie Funchess. Welcome to BoomBappED.
Thank you so much.
Hey.
And for those who don't know, BoomBappED is a radio show where we discuss cultural and, in particular, education issues done through a cultural lens. So welcome to the show. We're gonna go ahead and just hop right in with an icebreaker. Please state who you wonderful people are, what you do, and if you could be a rapper for a day, who would it be and why?
Okay, I guess I'll start. So I'm Natalie Sheppard. I'm one of the newest elected board members for the Rochester City School District. Let's see. What I do right now, I'm an adoption social worker. I work at Children Awaiting Parents. I'm also an adjunct professor at Roberts Wesleyan College. I teach social and ethnic diversity there. And if I could be a rapper for a day, I guess it would be Kanye West, because he gets to be unapologetically him, and those paychecks still come in no matter how people are feeling. So I guess, you know, that would be somebody that I would say I would want to be for a day.
For sure, for sure.
My name is Melanie Funchess, and I'm one of the newly appointed school board commissioners. I am the director of community engagement for the Mental Health Association, and if I could be a rapper for a day, I'm sitting up here because there's so many. I would be Rakim. Because if I'm gonna go in for a penny, I'm gonna go in for a pound and go in with just the absolute king.
Indeed.
Take it to the top.
Take it to the top, right? So Kanye West and Rakim actually have a song called Classic, so hopefully we'll be able to produce some classic material right now in our conversation. First and foremost, congratulations for your appointage. Is that the word? That's not, I just made that up. Right? But you know, hip hop is fluid, making up words. Appointments or appointages. I'm saying appointages. Appointages on the Board of Education for the Rochester City School District. Congrats, it's not easy to be on that, so congratulations to both of y'all.
Appreciate you.
Thank you.
Couple questions before we hop into some reflections on the things that you guys are about and the things that you guys have kind of talked about in the past. You all are both hyper aware of the troubles and the struggles of our district, right? In terms of the consistent attempts to try new things but not always go the way we want them, the consistently low numbers, despite whatever people's intentions are, good or bad. Knowing this is a persistent struggle for improvement, what prompted your decision to go for a board seat?
So what prompted my decision was just that we have a lot of leaders who are catching roadblocks that the community may not necessarily see. And so there was one point where I was just fed up with leaders telling us what we can't do. Just wanted to know, well, what can you do in your positions of influence? So that prompted me to want to take the step further, so that when I am luckily I was able to get into this position, and so now that I'm here, when I'm experiencing barriers, that it doesn't stop me from actually getting the work that is necessary to get done. So that was one of the things, just constantly hearing leaders to tell us about the barriers that they're having, but then it doesn't really move forward past that in some instances. We do have a lot of leaders in our community that are doing great work, so I also wanted to be able to add to the work that they're doing as well. So.
As for me, I've been in the community for a number of years doing the work. And I had been what I call district adjacent, right? And so being district adjacent, I had been partnering for 2 decades trying to make stuff happen. And so when the opportunity presented itself to get an opportunity to actually be on the board, I felt that people came to me and said, Mel, can you take on this work? Because we need a champion on the inside. You've been a champion on the outside. Can you now be a champion on the inside? So I stepped into that space to say, I know where the good is. And I know the places where we can be the owners of the tools of our own healing and the tools of our own education of our own village. And being in a position of policy and of moving power to be able to do that, with people like Natalie, I just want to come in and be able to be part of that change.
Indeed. And one thing I'm noticing that you guys are talking about are this idea of acknowledging the challenges and acknowledging the good. This balance, right, of understanding there are some things that could and need to be changed, while understanding there's also a lot of good going on and a lot of good intention, a lot of good effective things, but not enough, and finding your piece and place and how to make that work better. So in terms of, your appointment was when?
I was elected.
Yes,
I was going to make that point.
Thank you. She was like, make sure the world knows I was elected.
No, because there's a distinct difference in the way we both arrived.
For sure, words are important. Thank you.
No, you're good. I was elected officially in November of 2017.
That's right.
I started the work after primary, so I started since September.
Cool. And
I was appointed actually in the end of January, exactly January 26th of this year. So I've been in just about a month.
Yes. So you had maybe 3 or so months of experience with the board, the norms of central office. You've had about a month while still being exposed from the outside of central office through all the decades of work and our work also through this community task force and things like that. What are you learning about our systems in that building in your first weeks that's important to keep in mind when you're fighting for what you're fighting for?
The thing that has become most clear to me is that the level of bureaucracy that gets in the way of doing good work, and how I'm about process, right? And I'm about finding efficient processes so that we don't get held up in doing the work by all these different things. And I just seen that there's some things that where there's just bureaucracy. It's not always ill intent. It's just that people are doing things because they've always done them that way, and it's gone back so far that people don't know why they do them that way. It just is. So they've needed someone new to come in to question, well, why are we doing this way? And bring the question in a way that can be brought effectively.
Yeah, so for me, I think it's the culture over at central office and with the different departments that there needs to be an overhaul of the morale. It's very, very low in different departments, and there just needs to be an improvement there. So I'm a sports person. I was a student athlete, and it's we're working in silos when we're really supposed to be a team. So if one person wins, then we all win. If some person is losing or contributing something negative to the team, then that impacts us all. So what I found is that we need to start focusing on how do we boost the morale. I mean, we get a lot of reports in the news that always talk about our negatives. And it's how would someone feel to want to be a part of a team like that? The morale would definitely be low, but there's important work to be done. And I want to see how that can translate to the community in regards to what we're actually doing for the students. Because we have to remember, central office is just the core. There's all of these things around central office that we have to make sure that we're impacting in a positive way. So for me, I want to boost the morale over at central office so that it does translate to the community that we're actually trying to do this work and get it done, so that our students can feel proud of where they come from. They should feel proud of the schools that they go to, but it's hard for that to happen if it's constantly a negative thing in the news. And as you said before, there are a lot of positive things happening, so I want to make sure that we're protecting those things and replicating those as well.
And I just want to pick back on what Natalie said, is that there are a lot of positive things happening. What ends up happening, once you get into this negative loop of thinking, you can't see the positive, and what I want folk to understand is that we're not, not talking about raising esteem, but it's not just raising your esteem to make you feel good and blow sunshine up your butt. It's about really telling you that, look, there's good stuff happening. There are parents involved in buildings. There are kids who want to come to school, want to learn, and are hungry for knowledge. There's a lot of good stuff out there. We just have to be able to raise it and make sure it doesn't get drowned out in all of this other stuff. And also let people know, we know you're trying.
That's right.
We see you. And a lot of it is that people don't feel like people see them. Yeah. And that's a human thing. People need to be seen and acknowledged for their humanity. And that's what a lot of what we need to do.
That's right. Y'all both were at the Black History Month event, right, with the Knowledge Bowl.
Yes.
And again, an event that many people don't know exists or don't go to, or a combination of both, right? But when I go into central office, typically the energy that I get is like, oh, this place, right? But then when I actually stepped into the Knowledge Bowl, that session, you see all these beautiful Black and brown kids playing violin and doing pieces of stage plays and having really deep trivia contests with questions that I don't know the answers to, was really powerful and potent. And that's that good that doesn't necessarily always get seen, because some people may not want to see it, or doesn't necessarily get pushed out. And that gets flooded out by what you talked about, which is that bureaucracy.
Yes.
Right? So let's actually get into a little bit about who you guys are and what has allowed y'all to see these things in our district and in our children. So we're gonna do something called Say the Last Word for Me. In front of y'all are really, really brief excerpts from publications that were covering y'all work, or who y'all were, or interviews with y'all. And so what I'm gonna do is I'm gonna read out loud for the listeners out there or the watchers out there. It's only 5 sentences or so long, so I'm not gonna be reading a whole treatise about Miss Sheppard or Mama Mel. We're gonna read that out loud, and then what I would like for y'all to do is identify what is the most meaningful piece in that tiny excerpt, like a sentence word. What do you think is the most meaningful thing for people to understand about you and your district work? And then after that, the other person's gonna guess what they think is your most important piece. And then you're gonna explain how they're correct or modify their thinking, and then explain your choice. Make sense? All right, do you mind we start with you, Ms. Sheppard?
Oh, yeah, go ahead.
All right, here we go. So this excerpt comes from 2 places, actually, from City Newspaper and a 2017 World Changer Award representative. And it says this about Ms. Sheppard. Ms. Sheppard also works at Hillside as a foster care coordinator. She speaks with sensitivity and compassion about her work at building positive relationships between foster parents and children, and she thinks there is a shortage of social workers in city schools. But she also says that management in city schools as it relates to social work is inconsistent compared to the suburban schools that she visits. And the World Changer Award representative says Natalie Sheppard is worth the award that she received and more. Her passion and vision is to change the world, starting with home first, which is Rochester. We're honored to have a young, powerful visionary such as Natalie. So just take a moment, think about what the most important sentence or phrase in that is as it pertains to your board work. And then, Mama Mel, you just think about what you think it is, and then we'll see how well it connects, and we'll see how well we can build off of that.
So, do I start by saying it, or does Mama Mel guess first?
Mama
Okay.
Mel guesses first. Yep.
She wants to change the world, starting with home first.
So why do you think that's the thing that she valued the most in her board work?
Because that's her come from. She doesn't just want to jump into a thing. She studies a thing. She learns a thing. She sees it from all the different sides, because she's a young leader who wants to affect positive, sustainable change. And so by the fact of how much energy she puts into it and the way she puts that energy in tells me that that's what's most important to her.
That's so interesting, because that's actually the exact thing that I was going to say, yeah. So the world changer part, how much I appreciate Mel. She always is able to bring out the best in me. So, but no, so I chose that same exact phrase because this thing is so much bigger than just Rochester. And I really, how I'm going about the work is that I really want people to understand that, yeah, this is where we start, but we're really trying to propel our kids into the next level. And the next level is a global economy. And a lot of people feel that this is just a local fight, and it's not. So I've been doing a lot of advocating. I'm actually going to Albany tomorrow through Wednesday, just trying to show children that there's levels to this, right? Right. This thing is bigger than Nino, right? Yep. So that is actually how I go about my work, just really trying to get people to understand that yes, you got to start here, but it grows like a flower, and you got to be prepared for those next levels, because if you just level yourself off here and you create a ceiling, we're seeing the effects of ceilings being created, and so we just got to break through those things. So I appreciate that people are actually able to see that. That's how I'm attempting, not by myself, but attempting to do my part in that. So yeah,
indeed, and it says a lot if she was able to detect that.
Yeah,
you know what I'm saying, in terms of y'all own cipher energy and the board. Yeah. So, Mama Mel, your turn. All right. So this was an interview she did with the Democrat Chronicle, one of the seminal publications and newspapers in Rochester. And they did a quick interview about her experiences, and she stated that she was married with 4 children, lives in Rochester. The biggest challenge, in terms of the biggest challenge she's had to overcome and how she did it, she said, the question is so hard to answer because I am unsure if I've even faced my biggest challenge yet. I have experienced many, many trials and tribulations over the course of my journey, and they were all very different and tested me in different ways and taught me different things. In terms of the one thing that she's always wanted to do but never had the chance to do is go to Africa. She wants to go and place her feet on the soil that her ancestors walked on. She says that I want the spiritual connection to my ancestors that comes from being in physical proximity to them. I want to stand in the place where they stood in their strength before their enslavement. And her favorite movie, Mahogany. So, Mama Mel, the most important quote that represents your work and contribution in the Board of Ed is Sheppard. Whatever you think that might be, and then we'll see the deviation or the in syncness. We make up words here, but
Man, I don't want to take an L on this. Let's see, this is hard because of all of this stuff. Yeah. But for me, what I see, I'm looking at the sentence that says, in her words, I have experienced many, many trials and tribulations over the course of my journey, and they were all very different and tested me in different ways and taught me different things. And the end of that sentence, taught me different things, is something that I really has seen in the spirit of Mel being on the board, is that every time there's any type of discussion that's come on, she will interject professionally and turn in line. She will interject though, but say there's always like a piece of her personal story. She's been through something. I understand this. I can empathize with that. And this is what I've learned. So she doesn't just leave people standing there like, okay, you went through that, and now what's next? She actually incorporates it into, like, I call them mini lessons. And it's very difficult. So for me, like, I'm somebody that's straight to the point, but Mama Mel, like, she will really take 2 minutes and utilize those 2 minutes to teach you a whole lesson about life. Like, she is so skilled at that. And so I'm learning so much from her, but that really comes out in all of her answers. You can tell that she's been through something, and so she's not just speaking from a point of just trying to act like she's above somebody. She actually has gone through things, and she uses those as teachable moments. So that's one thing that I know that sticks out for me in regards to her work that I've seen.
Mama Mel, what was your quote? And make connections with her interpretation of what was important.
Wow. I gotta know, because what it was, and I'm not gonna let you take the L.
Okay, because I'm sitting here like, she's about to call her as soon as I get out of here.
I'm gonna do that in less than 2 minutes. Okay. What my line is, I want to stand in the place where they stood in their strength before their enslavement, because Sankofa is my way. You have to know where you've been to know where you're going, right? And what makes that line previous about, I've been through many trials and tribulations on this journey, where my learning comes from that I want to pass on to others, is in the fact that I deeply acknowledge my past as being an inherent jewel to my future. I can't take any step forward till I look back and see where I've been. Right, so that's like every time I talk to Natalie and I do those quote unquote mini lessons, it's about because I've taken that from which is behind me and brought it to that which is before me, and being able to bring those things and make everything line up to create the balance that we need to move forward and push.
Yeah. And that was a great way of making sure that it connected back to what she was saying, right?
Yeah, appreciate you pointing that out. See, that's why people call her Mama Mel, because she ain't gonna let her children fall. Like she gonna hold me down.
No, I'm gonna hold you down every trip. You know, because for me, it all comes back to I'm an African, and in my heart, I mean, when I say it, I wear Sankofa tatted on my body. You know, because we have got to understand that we didn't just pop up in 16, 19, when 20 years old, landed on the shores on a white lion. We have a heritage, and we have a thing, and we have an ancestral memory that we need to call forth. That's why I believe in this work. I mean, I don't mean to go on to all this, but I believe in this work so much because I believe in the African in us. And that it's calling to us, it's calling to the children, and people don't understand our language because we're in a strange land. You know, but I see the strength and power, and I want to partner with young warriors like Natalie to bring that forth so that we can be like I said, the owners of the tools of our own healing and the bringers of our own strength and knowledge.
Indeed. One of the, I'm sorry, Ms. Sheppard, it sounds like you about to say something. Go ahead.
No.
Sure?
I was just like preach. You know how we do. Like, you better say that.
And Mama Mel is absolutely good for that. You know, and as everybody knows or has heard, this show's called BoomBappED, and a lot of the ways we, you know, interface and have this show is through hip hop sensibilities. And there were two things that I noticed were super hip hop, and one thing that was like hip hop needs to work on. One, this idea of not letting each other fall in the cipher. If I was messing up, all Aaron would do would just take what I was saying in the cipher, rearrange it, flip it up a little bit, and nobody's worried about, you know, me messing up or saying something stupid, right? And that's exactly what happened here. There was a connection that y'all made to each other's thoughts. You know what I'm saying? So even if it wasn't identical, it was made so it was, you know, one and the same in the community. One thing that y'all did that hip hop needs to work on is that intergenerational piece, right? Where Mama Mel was like, you know what? I have XYZ experience, but that means, you know, certain things. It doesn't necessarily mean that I can't learn so much from Sister Sheppard, right? And so this intergenerational learning and leadership is super key.
And vice versa. So I know my generation. I could speak for us. We kind of hard-headed sometimes. You know, we think we know everything. You know what I'm saying? But we definitely have to, you know, take pride in knowing that we can learn from those that came before us. So,
that's African. You know, in the village, there's a role wherever you are in your rights, right? There's a space for you, and there's a responsibility in that space, right? So it is my responsibility to give to you and for me to hear from you. For us to have that symbiotic thing, because that way the whole village grows.
That's right.
And we somehow fell off the thing and got it twisted, but there's those of us when we become consciously aware of that thing, it's our responsibility to model and teach that.
That's right.
Yep. And I did want to say though that Mama Mel, she can attest to this, is the fact that sometimes I don't want to hear the lessons that she's telling me, my stubborn youngness, and I'm like, but I don't want to do that. Like, I know that's right, but that's not what I want to do. But she still coaches me. She still, she doesn't turn me away in that effect. And she just continues to try to keep me on the right path, and I just continue to learn, even though it might be something that I don't want to do. I still listen. You know what I'm saying? I'm not disrespectful. I let her finish, and then I say my little piece, and she be like, "But baby," and so as soon as she say that, I know she ready to get that belt out on me. Well,
but the thing is that while she is growing as a lioness, I cannot stifle her roar. I can't do it.
Right. Yeah.
So what is my job is to make sure that as she's roaring, that I'm able to help guide her so that poachers don't find her. So that, that she is able to be herself and bloom and grow and blossom into the warrior she's meant to be. But I need to be able to use my knowledge of having walked so many miles on the earth to shield her from the arrows that may come as she's burgeoning out for herself.
Shout out for the bars that Mama Mel's over there throwing.
Right.
The lioness, let her roar.
The imagery is official.
Yeah.
Straight
Taking us on that
metaphors,
journey,
straight
yeah.
metaphors. Mama Mel on the MIC. Real, that's-
Look, I'm from the Bronx.
Okay. Don't get it twisted.
Right,
Quit
yeah.
playing.
The land of the originators. I see it in Mama Mel right now. Real. So we're gonna close with a last little segment called Take a Stand / Word Gumbo. Alright? So I'm gonna put out a statement. And teachers use this a lot for anticipatory sets where you state whether or not you strongly agree, disagree, strongly disagree, right? I'm gonna make a statement. You simply state if you strongly agree, disagree, strongly disagree, right? And I'll tell you what word gumbo is after. That's more the hip hop part. Here's my take a stand statement. Teachers who get licensed should be allowed to have a gun in their classroom to prevent potential school shooting threats.
Strongly disagree.
Disagree.
Okay, so this is what I want y'all to do. In hip hop, one of the quintessential elements of freestyling is when we freestyle, we throw words out there. True. You have to incorporate that in the freestyle, right? In the improvisational rhyme. So in your reason for why you disagree and why you strongly disagree, I would like for you to use these 3 words: investment, anger, and juice. Investment, anger, and juice.
Freestyle.
Think why you would strongly disagree or disagree. Trying to use as many of those, to be fair, use as many of those words as possible in your response.
I got this.
Oh, Mama Mel back on the
Okay,
mic.
step into the mic first. Mama Mel.
Investment, anger, and juice are the words, ladies and gentlemen.
I disagree with the use of guns for teachers to protect children because if they had that juice of relationship, the juice of relationship within the community and within their classrooms, they could quell the anger that it happens and turn around and put investment in our children, investment in the community that would bring back love so people will not want to come in and shoot. But when people want to come in, they will be guarded against by the hedge of love and investment in the purpose of our youth that helps them to grow, period.
All right.
Bars.
Perfect. Can I put my name as a tagline on that so we can share that? Hold on. Let's see. So, do I have to do it on the beat? Like, I'm not good at this.
No, we're talking.
Okay.
We're talking. This
This is a conversation.
No
Okay, all right, perfect.
But don't let her.
No.
I can imagine.
You got
Let
skills.
me take it back. All right. So, I disagree with teachers having guns in the classroom because we haven't even invested in pencils for our preschoolers. So what I hear people saying is that they're not worth the investment, and that angers me because even when we need our kids to thrive and create a culture in a school, they ain't even got no juice at lunch. What we doing? No, that was bad. Y'all need to clip that out.
That was great. Listen, here's the thing too about the cipher. At the end of the day, because I'm sure all of us have participated in ciphers where either I or ourselves have been tripping and said something really goofy, or hurt somebody else. But at the end of the day, a cipher is about contribution, not necessarily who's always doing the best or who did. It's about coalescing your ideas in the community, right? Yeah. Which in itself is African, as you brought up. So the fact that I was just able to spring up 3 words and y'all were able to figure out how to do it, that was great. And again, it showed your willingness to be in community, which is the most important part of being in a cipher. So in closing, first of all, we just want to thank y'all again for being on BoomBappED. Is there anything that you really want in this last minute of time that you really want people to understand about you or your work, and how people can contact you if people are trying to do that?
Yeah, so my contact information, people can go to my website, which is nataliesheppard.com. They can find me on Facebook and my professional page, which is Commissioner Natalie Sheppard. They can also email me at nataliesheppard4rcsd.com, at gmail.com, sorry. Or they can also email me on my district website, which is natalie.sheppard at rcsdk12.org. work. And then lastly, I just want people to know about me, that this is tough work. With us just coming in as newbies, I just want people to have a level of patience. And just because I'm asking for patience doesn't mean that I'm not working at a sense of urgency. But there's a lot of things that we have to peel back and really break down so that we can move it effectively forward. So just take this journey with us, please.
And I said my name is Melanie Funchess. You can see me on Facebook. I don't have all those presences yet, but I'm working on it because I'm old, right? But I do have a district email, melanie.funchess@rcsdk12.org. You can hit me up on Facebook. I am mobless469 on Twitter. You just hit me up, but what I want people to understand and be clear is to hold me accountable and to know that I am here to make it so we are the owners of the tools of our own healing and the tools of our own upbuilding of our village.
Ashe.
Thank y'all so much for coming.
Thank you.
Thank you all the listeners and viewers for listening to BoomBappED. You are hearing Brandon White, aka Bushido Garvey, Brother Aaron, aka Atlas, and Tech Rob.
Behind the camera over there.
Yes. Be good, be well. Peace.
Peace.